Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers. I'm Jennifer Loading, and we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the magic makers, and the dreamers. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. I'm so excited about my guest today because I love what she is doing. She's a dedicated advocate for domestic violence survivors and their beloved pets. She's like totally speaking my language. With a background in public health and a passion for animal welfare, she has navigated the complexities of helping survivors find safe housing for their pets. Through her foundation, she provides temporary care, foster networks, and support systems for both humans and animals. So we're going to be talking to her in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I do need to make a few announcements. So first of all, today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photography. If you are a creator needing post-production, consultation, or promotion, Walt is your guy. Whether short films, YouTube videos, photography work, or a new headshot, he can help you find a solution to match your needs. To learn more about Walt and his work, you're going to want to go to photosbywalt.com. And if you are one of our amazing listeners and you are ready to kickstart your leadership journey, then I have a treat for you. Got something special. Free tools to accelerate your path to becoming a more effective leader. Did you know they did a study and they discovered that a whopping 63% of consumers prefer doing business with companies that share their personal values and beliefs? It's a game changer. Understanding your core values isn't just crucial for your business growth, it's also the cornerstone of effective leadership. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or an aspiring creator, identifying your core values is a fundamental step in building the framework of a successful leader. One of my favorite mentors, John Maxwell, wisely stated, everything rises and falls on leadership. So if you're eager to access these valuable resources and embark on your journey to becoming a better leader, then I've got you covered. You're going to want to head over to linktree/Jennifer Loading. That is linktr.ee/Jennifer with 2 N's. And then Loading is LOEH, D as in dog, ING. There you can unlock your free leadership resources and take that first step to your leadership aspirations. So with all that, I'm so excited to get my guest on here. We have lots of words we got to get out before we do all that. So Orazie Cook is the founder of Praline's Backyard Foundation. Through her dynamic leadership, Praline's Backyard Foundation has become a beacon of hope for countless families and their beloved pets. As a renowned speaker and educator, Orazie takes her mission beyond the foundation's walls, engaging with the community and inspiring thousands to join the cause. Her dedication to fostering networks has enabled countless survivors to find peace, knowing their pets are cared for and loved. So, Orazie, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate the opportunity.
This could be so much fun.
Yes.
It's going to be good. So, it's funny, I think it's so great. I want to say this. It's so awesome that you contacted me because, I grew up, and I know that you're doing kind of this really neat thing, and I love what you're doing, but it's so interesting that you contacted me because I grew up in a menagerie of pets. Like, my family was like the finder of pets. And what is so funny is because now in my house with my kids are all grown now. My youngest is now 19. I don't know, I think about this, like we have a menagerie of pets in our house right now. And all of our pets have pretty much been pets that we have rescued from different organizations. And so I think it's so like befitting that you have contacted me because when I told some of my friends this, they were like, oh my gosh, like she was meant to contact you. So I'm excited to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So this is fun. So tell us a little bit about the foundation. I want to start there, what you got going on over there and what you're doing.
Okay, great. Praline's Backyard Foundation, we house pets of domestic violence survivors via pet boarding facilities we have partnerships with and just pet boarding facilities just nationally, and aiming to take away one of the barriers of survivor experiences when they're leaving an abuser, lack of housing for their pet. And so what we do, like if a survivor contacted me today and they were trying to leave a situation where they were being abused physically or emotionally or financially, we would provide housing. We'll say, oh, you're in immediate danger. We need to move you right now. Can we get do you know a pet boarding facility that you want to house your pet at? If so, then let's contact them and we'll pay for the boarding for 7 days. During those 7 days, we will put out a call among our foster network to get someone to foster that pet for the longer term. We have fosters who have volunteered to foster with us or with other organizations, and we just tap into all our foster networks to identify a foster for the survivor's pet. Once we identify a foster, we connect that foster with that survivor's pet at the pet boarding facility, and then that foster will house that pet for up to 6 months. During that time that the foster is housing the pet, the survivor is updated on that pet. They will communicate via me or the foundation in terms of how the pets are doing, and just to give the survivor the assurance that the pet has been taken care of while they're having a moment of reflection and just taking care of themselves and their pet is safe.
Yeah, and I could totally see how that would be kind of, a needed theme, because finding shelter for your pet when you're going through like that, it could be a barrier, right? Like it could be a real, like, you've got a pet, what do you do with it? So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we recognize that less than 20% of domestic violence shelters in the U.S. are pet friendly. They're aiming to be 25% by 2025. However, we have a ways to go even with that lack of access among the 75%. So it's just really leveraging our community partners to see how can we best support survivors of domestic violence. Because what I tell people all the time, the survivors are courageous, have gone through whatever their experience is. But what happens is when they leave that situation, what resources are there for them when they do? What safety net is available to them? And that one of the safety nets is Praline's Backyard Foundation, because our goal is to not let any survivor stay in an abusive relationship due to lack of housing for their pet. They may stay in a relationship for a number of reasons,
right,
but do not let it be because you're concerned about housing for your pet. We will provide you that support, so that's not the reason you're concerned. So you can really take time for yourself, for your own healing, and know that your pet is safe. Because we recognize too that 52% of survivors leave their pet behind with their abuser. And what ends up happening is that abuser will try to use that pet as a means to bring them back, or to threaten them that harm is going to come to their pet. And so it automatically makes the survivor feel a moment of guilt. It draws them back into that cycle. And so we want to make sure that we cut that cycle off so they don't even have that as an option anymore.
Yeah. Wow. And you were giving me chills when I was listening to you talk about that. Because, I follow a lot of shelters that are not even that. Like, I'm just talking about like animal shelters. And I see these stories where, most of these animals, they find them, right? Like they get them, they're coming in off the street. But then you hear these stories where people have given their pet to one of these shelters, like they just moved or something. And then you wonder, is it a situation like that? I can't imagine, because like I said, I grew up with pets, and I feel like I'm in my 50s now. I feel like I've had pets my whole life. I don't know that we've ever not had a pet. Like I was thinking about this now, like we have so many now, and I'm like, do I get to a place where I'm like going to be done? And then I'm thinking, no, I probably will always have a pet in my house, right? But I see these stories, when I'm watching these shelters, and I feel so bad for all these animals all the time. And so I love what you're doing, because I think that it's such a great way to make the situation for these guys when they're in this is one less thing that they have to worry about. And then the pet doesn't suffer either, right? Because they're the ones that end up suffering.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I even established Praline's Backyard Foundation. You mentioned how a lot of the overcrowding of our humane societies now is because people are relinquishing ownership of their pet for a number of different reasons. So when I was volunteering at the Humane Society, that's what I would hear. I would have survivors come in and relinquish ownership of their pet because they were moving into a housing situation that did not accommodate for pets. And they didn't want to give their pet up, but because they were going through this transitional phase, they didn't have housing for their pet. And so that's a responsible thing to do as a pet owner, right? And so you can't provide for them, so let me do this to relinquish ownership. That's responsible. However, if that's not what you sincerely want to do, and we can provide you a safety net for housing for your pet, that would be a better option for you, then we want to be able to give that option to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. And I was going to ask you what led to this, like what brought you to this place, right? To this, to doing this, because how long has this, your foundation been enforced and active?
In 3 years, it's been since COVID. I started it in the midst of COVID because let me go back to something else. Because I volunteered at the domestic violence shelter here in Atlanta for years, and I would see that happen. I would see survivors go back to an abuser, and I would just learn that it was because of their pet. And I was just like, I didn't have the tools or the resources, or really the knowledge of how to address that issue. But then I went on to work at I volunteered at the Humane Society up until COVID. And then it was like, I'm seeing the same issues, people relinquish ownership. But then Mr. COVID, when I had a moment of reflection and really thinking about what I wanted to do with my life and just like, how can I meet this need? And because I would hear cases of increased domestic violence in the midst of COVID, it's like, I know this is happening. So how can I meet this need? I'm not older now, but I'm I'm older. We get older every day. So I'm older. I have more experience, and I had the resources and the means to do something. And I had the support, and I had an idea of how to make this work. And so that's what I ended up doing. And it's because of that, seeing that increase, I'm like, let me do something. And this is how my response COVID, is establishing a nonprofit because I thought this is a need that I recognize is there. And initially, I wanted to build a building here to house pets because this is where I live in Atlanta, and I wanted to build something here. But then I thought, because of my experience in public health, I recognize that we tend to bring people in from other places to establish programs when there are people already here that can do it themselves, right?
Right.
So me building a building, definitely admirable, and I commend anybody for doing that, is great. But how can I work in partnership with other people, other pet boarding facilities, other pet fosters to make it bigger than Georgia? Because we recognize domestic violence and the issue with pets is broader than Georgia. It happens in every state, every town, every community in this country, no matter what the social or economic demographic is. It happens in every neighborhood. And so recognizing that, I was like, how can I work in partnership? And that'll make the message of Praline's Backyard Foundation get even bigger by working in partnership with other organizations, because other pet boarding facilities, they already know how to handle pets, right?
Right.
So how can I work in partnership with them to house a survivor's pet? And we have pet fosters everywhere. Like you mentioned how your family has rescued pets all your life, right? So there are people and families out there that love to rescue pets, that love to foster pets, and people love to be able to meet someone in their moment of need and helping us survive in their moment of need. And you can provide housing to their pet and provide love and comfort and security to a survivor who's really struggling with making that adjustment, because and most oftentimes a survivor still loves the abuse. Just because she left doesn't mean she stopped loving that person the moment she left. She's having he or she is having a lot of emotional turmoil with that. So how can we support them best to do that?
Yeah, I like it. My sister does some, I'm in Dallas area. My folks, everybody's down in Houston, they're south, but my sister does some foster stuff too, has done some fostering before. I'm like, we don't have any room to put any more in here to do that, because I don't know if we've even put them anymore. I mean, like, I got cats and dogs and a rabbit, and we got this and that. I'm like, we can't even put them all in the same room, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's crazy, but I tell you, but I think people that like pets, and I love that. Now, you said you worked in shelters and stuff. Did you have another career before you did all this? Because you started this during COVID. So were you doing like whole another different type of thing?
Well, I have a dog walking business.
Okay.
But also I work in public health. I've worked in public health for over 20 years. And so that's like I have a doctorate in public health. I've been doing that for a while. But I've always volunteered. Like from the moment I was in high school, my mom always gave us the initiative to give back to our community. And one thing we used to make sandwiches for the homeless and take them down on the weekends. And so when I went on to college, I worked at a helpline. And so it's just always been a part of my life of giving. But because in the midst of COVID, I didn't volunteer because I have two terminally ill parents at the time. And so it's just like I couldn't necessarily expose them to that. So I didn't really volunteer during that time. But I could create this, and I could volunteer from my computer and just make phone calls and really connect with different people. And so that's how I started the foundation.
Good for you. That's so awesome. And I know a lot of people that have started foundations, different types. Like I interviewed a young girl one day that started one like I think her senior year of high school. She was a 3-time cancer survivor. And so she started this organization called Leah's Kids. Really neat girl. She's now in college. She's actually a first grade teacher now, but she had a type of eye cancer and she survived it. So she created this foundation to go into help families that were dealing with cancer, to provide them necessities, things that they don't get, like just, tools and things, like maybe they need toothbrushes or something like that. And then she has this whole princess thing that comes in, like they dress up as a princess and they go visit the kid and that's, the child that's dealing with the cancer and stuff. So I know I've met so many amazing people that have created different types of foundations. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, especially if you've never done that, right? Like I've had people ask me before, like, what do you do to start a foundation? I'm like, I don't know. I've never done one, but I would love to know from your perspective, like maybe one of the, because I always say we do real talk here. We talk about all the things with this, but maybe one of the things that you felt like was a hurdle you had to get over to get this going.
I guess a personal hurdle was because probably I wasn't so into social media. I got on Facebook like in college, like when Facebook first started, and I dabbled in it for a second, but got off of it. And so in the midst of me coming up with the foundation, people say, get on social media, tell them the story and people will donate and do all that. And so I initially did that, and I did it just as a means of just doing it because people said do it. But then people said, get a 501c3. And I thought, well, I don't know. That seems like difficult. I don't know. But then I ended up doing it, and it wasn't that bad. It was easy. Like, because I'm a researcher by nature, and obviously I love books. So it's like, I can do this. So I did it. And then I got the 501c3. people flooded me. They continue to support us, and I appreciate that. So I guess probably my own hurdle was me being the face of the foundation. Like, I'm on social media, like my face is out there like 3 or 4 times a week. And when I see people like post, like 1,000 people that don't even know me know what my face look like. Like, and because I live in Atlanta and I have a high presence on social media, people see me in Atlanta. When I go to dog events, people know who I am. And it's like startling to say, "Oh, you're Orazie." I'm like, "Oh, Praline's backyard." Oh, okay. So people know me. So that's probably like getting over myself is probably the biggest thing I've had to do. But knowing that I'm reaching people and raising awareness, if I can be the face of the foundation of every survivor who struggles with leaving an abuser because of their pet, then I don't mind. If my face can help someone else make a decision to better their lives and the lives of their pet, then I don't mind. And that's probably just my own issues of giving over myself to help other people.
Well, and that's a common thing. And I could probably share some of that with you too, because I've, having a podcast, right? Obviously I am the face, my face is out there, right? But, it's funny because I wrestle with social media like all the time. Like, I have to be there, but I hate it at the same time. Like, I really like when I talk about this, when I do the podcast, what I love is the conversations. I love having the conversations and learning about people and sharing the stories and inspiring, but I could care less about all of the aspects of posting and getting it all. Like, I just want to put it out there. And it's like, I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, if I just had the person that can whip all that up, just let me find the people, do the interviews, engage in the conversations, record. I can do all that. I love it. But somebody else do all that other stuff, but don't charge me a fortune to do it either, because it's a podcast.
Well,
you know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. It's a podcast, and I have fun with it, and I love the conversations, but I have wrestled with that too in different aspects of, how to really put yourself out there and be the face. And you have to get over some of that. In fact, it's funny. Yesterday, I was looking at one of the clips that I put in on YouTube. I did a short from the last episode I put out. Great episode. She's a world record holder. She's a mom of 7. I was in a terrible car accident and then decided to climb mountains. And so she went on Mount Everest, and then she got this world record doing the 7-second summits. I mean, amazing. So I put this small clip, a short, about her talking about how the principal called her to report about her son. But then he was shocked because she was excited to talk to him. And the reason she was excited was not because he called about the kid, but because she wasn't supposed to be alive and that she was actually getting to have this conversation. And so I put this short up. Well, for whatever reason, I just pegged it because people are looking at it. And so I'm kind of excited. People are actually looking at it, But the funny thing is that behind that, you have to take all the garbage that comes with it too. Like the dumb comments that come in, right? The negative, the hater stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, delete. That's the part, because we don't want to be faced with all that, right? We don't want to deal. We just want to do what we love to do, inspire and help people. And, but it's part of it. We learn that doing what we're doing, we have to take some of those things
and get the trolls and all the mean people.
Yeah. And like you said, be okay with saying, I really don't like being in the face, but if it helps somebody and I get to do what I love doing, then I'll sacrifice and be the face. You know what I mean? I'll be out there.
Definitely. Because I was people even with my goal has always been from the beginning, because each year in the United States, we have 10 million cases of domestic violence. Those are documented cases. We recognize that everybody is documented. Yeah. However, my goal at the beginning of this was to educate 10 million people and to create a community of 10 million advocates for every survivor, right? And so my naive goal, in the sense of let me get 10 million followers. I don't like followers because I'm not Jesus or God, anything of biblical sense. However, but I want to just create a community of 10 million people. And so it's I think when I see stuff that goes viral, stupid stuff, I'm sure you've seen it. I'm like, what? This is stupid. This is craziness. If stupidness can get viral, why can't raising awareness about an important issue get viral as well? What's wrong with our society if stupidness can get viral? And I cannot tell you about the issues or the barriers that survivors of domestic violence experience can't go viral. Let's go viral with education. Let's go viral with something positive or something that's helping somebody else. Because I always tell people, I woke up this morning with a purpose. It wasn't just for me to be beautiful, which I am, but just or to be whatever. My purpose is to help somebody else on this earth, because if that's my purpose. If I have not done that, but I know that I am. I'm meant to do something. We woke up every day. We're meant to help somebody's life in a positive way. And so every day I want to be able to do that for someone. And so you can do that. Everyone listening to this podcast right now can do that for someone as well. By liking, following, sharing, talking to your local pet boarding facility, fostering a survivor's pet, doing whatever is in your realm of comfortability within your community to help somebody else.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep. And it is. You have to get to a place where, yeah, you got to be okay with all of the stuff that comes with it, right? You just do it.
Yeah.
So, because we love what we do. And that's the thing. I mean, I feel like, we're all most of us are trying to do something that we feel is going to do some kind of good, right? And it may come in the form of what you're doing with your foundation. Mine, I try to spread positivity and show these great stories and put things out there, and I do it through my voice and the things that I do on my show. And so we're all doing, I think, these different things, and using just different methods to get our voice and our passion and purpose and whatever it is we're trying to do out there. So it's good definitely. On you. Love it. I love it. Well, and the question, you answered another one of my questions. I was going to ask you, like, what's the reports? Like, how many of these domestic, violence cases are out there, and how many dogs or pets are you guys taking or like placing, within a certain time frame, like a month or so? What are y'all looking at?
Okay. So on average, my dog just walked in here. Sorry.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. I got some. Yeah, it's okay.
So on average, we are providing housing, boarding, rather, for about 50 pets a month. Okay. And then we are supporting about 40 fosters on average. People move in and out of the fostering and pet boarding. So that's the average right now. And that's our capacity. Because recently I haven't done this. I need to do this on our website to limit the pets that we can support for a person is 4. Because it was getting like people have 5 or 6 and like that like every pet is about $500 for 7 days of boarding. Yeah. And that depends on where you are. From Alabama to California, the price ranges from $25 to $60 a night. And, if you ever boarded your pet, you know that the boarding facility puts all these add-ons, like take the dog for a walk, for food, because most times survivors didn't bring food with them when they dropped their pet off. And so all of those different things add on to the cost. That's what we're averaging right now. And we recognize, too, just yes, about the numbers, about 1 in 3 households owns a pet, right? And so with that in mind, the amount of survivors, they're just like anybody else in the population. And so but also we get phone calls from people that we may not directly assist. Like I might get a call from a survivor today. He or she may not be ready to leave. However, what they're doing is investigating what's available to them when they do leave. Yeah. And so that part of that is just educating them. Like I've worked with survivors for over a couple of months before they're ready to leave. They just want to get all the pieces in place before they leave, to know that they can be able to leave and not go back. That's one of the things that happens as well.
Wow. It's awesome. All right. So I want to ask you kind of a personal question about you, because I'm all about the journey of the entrepreneur and what we learn in this, this process. I would love to know what you've learned, I guess, maybe about yourself in doing this, because this is kind of taken, it's something different.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't see this in myself. Like I couldn't have told me 5 years ago that I would own my own dog walking company, be leading a nonprofit. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that much work. Like, I just wouldn't have thought that of myself. Not that I'm not capable, but just because it wasn't even an interest of mine. I had worked, like I mentioned, in public health. I have a doctorate in public health, a master's in public. I've done all these steps to work in public health, to work at the CDC. And so it's like, I've done all that, but now you want to give all that up and be a dog walker or lead a dog. And then you want to help domestic violence survivors house their pets. Like, I mean, there is public health involved in supporting domestic violence survivors, but really, you didn't get a doctorate to do that. You got a doctorate to change the world or do this, do that, change the world. But in terms of change how policies are done around public health, and I have done that, and I'm proud of the work that I've done. But I'm at this point in my life, it's like I want to do something different, and that different is walking dogs, because there's a as you probably know, there's a level of comfort, meditation, relaxation that happens when you go outside and you walk your dog. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I'm a nature person. So I just love being outside, being in nature and just letting my dog enjoy nature. That's therapeutic for me. Mm-hmm. And so in addition to that, I recognize that when a survivor struggles with leaving an abuser, their pet is therapeutic for them. And so my goal is for them to continue to have that therapy with the assurance that their pet is taken care of. Because what happens when a survivor goes into a shelter and they've left their pet behind with their abuser, they're not healing because they're still mentally concerned about their pet. Right. It's just like, and that really hinders their progress. Because I can tell you, I get stories all the time. In the comments, I'll say, I wish you were available for me when I left 5 years ago, or even last year. I wish I knew things like you existed, because they didn't know and they left their pet behind. Something bad happened, or they don't know what happened. That unknowing is really part of, it has to become part of their therapy, part of their recovery. And it's like that hinders their own growth. And so that's what I really, so I wouldn't have saw this in me. I wouldn't have saw me being an entrepreneur, leading an organization, like like I said, being the face of an organization on social media, people knowing what I look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have never saw that in me.
I think what's neat about that though, and that's one of my favorite questions to ask because it's kind of a personal question, right? Like it's not about the company where it comes more about you, the human being, right? And I think what's neat is when you listen to like what you just said, even though these things are different than what you did, in a sense they are, in a sense they're not, because you're still helping humanity in some way. Like there's a part of you that's still finding this way to make a difference. And I think that's what's so neat about when you look at like people's journeys, it's so fun because the things, if you were to go from the beginning, right? Like when you started in public health and you were to look at where you are now, there'd probably be some gaps in it and you'd be like, okay, how did I go from here to here? But there's always, if you look through the progression, there are pieces, right? Like there are pieces that lead you to this. And I always tell people, it's like funny, you go back, and you talk about your dog walking. That was kind of this head, the segue to this next piece that you were doing. And so I think it's funny how, and I don't know, did you grow up with pets? Like, did you have pets when you were young? Okay. So
like, I was thinking when you said that. Only time I didn't have a pet was when I was in college. I guess that's because I was in the dorm.
Yeah. So you've been exposed to that. So it wouldn't be totally far out there for you to be in this, right? And that's why I look at this too, because I do, it's funny because I do entrepreneurial coaching and then I'm a podcaster, but then I also do pet sitting on the side for some, and I have like repeat clients that come to me. They pay me well. Most of them I just drop in. I have a couple that I stay over sometimes overnight, but they're like my repeat clients. I get 5 stars every time I watch their pets. They love it. And it's, and so that if I had never had pets in my life, that would probably be a weird thing, right? But I've been caretaking for pets since I was a child, and I joke that we're like a menagerie, and my kids do the same thing. They've got pets, and so I think it's neat to find out, these journeys. And that's what I love about that question. It's just like, what have you learned in this? Because when people really start reflecting, they look and they go back and they'll go, no, it really makes sense why I am kind of doing this now. Because if I look back at everything I've done in my life, all the little, the journey's there. It's all along the way.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I think it's fun. So this is another fun question I want to ask. And I love this one too. It's any maybe inspiring words or maybe advice that you would give to somebody, maybe that somebody new starting something, whether it be their own 501c3, or maybe they're just going to embark on a new adventure and they have no idea what to do, like as this new budding creator, entrepreneur, achiever, whatever.
Okay, well, there's a book by Dr. Seuss that I love. It's actually, I have a number of copies. It's like my normal gift-giving gift. It's All the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss.
I love that book.
It is my gift for any graduation. It's my gift. And so it's just like, all the places you'll go. Like you'll go, it may not turn out the way you think, but it'll all turn around and just like, you'll go lots of different places and it won't be all exciting all the time. Like, sometimes you'll get a bump on your head and shoes in I know the book by heart, actually, but I can't think of it in this moment. But it's a great book. And so just read that book, get that book. And whenever you're having a moment, up or down, when you're high, when you're low, whatever, read this book. And it will just give you such inspiration and just remind you of reality and what your purpose is. And so, yeah.
I had a teacher my senior year that introduced that book to us. And I think I've actually given that book to one of my kids. I think I might've gave that to my middle when she went to college. So I love that book as well. So, and it's funny because I think I've done posts even wrapped around that book for certain things. I love Dr. Seuss stuff anyways, cool. But that book is, yes, I love that book. So thank you for sharing. So if our audience wants to get in touch with you, maybe we have somebody out there that hears this and they know somebody or they're in that position, or maybe they just want to find out what you're doing and a little bit more about your organization. Where would you like us to send them?
Definitely. Go to Praline's Backyard Foundation.org. Praline, Pralines, Backyard Foundation.org. On that page, you can learn about all the things. You can learn about if you're a survivor and you need assistance housing your pet, there's a link that says for survivors. If you are a pet foster, you want to be a foster, you go to where it says a map of our coverage area. On that page, let's become a foster. If you are a pet boarding facility or work at a pet boarding facility and you think your pet boarding facility would like to be one of our partners in terms of housing a survivor's pet for free, discounted, or just being a location that I can call on when I need a survivor's pet, reach out to us and fill out that post that link that says partner with us as a pet boarding facility. If you want to donate, there's a button on there that says donate. But everyone that's listening to this, do me a huge, huge favor. Take you like 5 seconds. Go on your phone right now. Go to Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. What is it? Facebook, Instagram, all of them, all the social medias. Praline_backyard. Follow, like, and share. So definitely every follow helps us raise awareness. Think about if you follow one of your friends will follow, and we can just spread a little, make it go. Because we want to reach 10 million people. We're at about 50 now, 50,000, excuse me. So definitely we want to reach 1 million. I would love to, 10 million. But if we can just double it because of all of you, I would greatly appreciate it. We want to raise awareness. We want to get 10 million people in our community to represent the 10 million people who experience domestic violence in this country each year.
So awesome. Well, good for you. I love it. So keep doing what you're
Jennifer.
doing. It's good stuff. So thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing with us and telling us a little bit about your journey and what you're doing. And it'd be fun to see, how this keeps kind of growing for you and the awareness that you're bringing out there to the world. So
thank you so much.
Yep. All right. Of course, we do want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy the show, do all those things she said. Go check her stuff out, but do the same over here. Go check us out on Apple. Give us a review over there. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube so we can keep sharing all these great stories. And as I always say to you, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care. Be safe. Be kind to one another. We will see you next time.